the Iranians, there's a story that goes back to 2006 when Israel sent in Sariyat Matkal and Egos and all these elite commando units into southern Lebanon, sort of repeating the disaster that's unfolding right now. But they were using the SINCARs, which is a frequency hopping encrypted radio system that the American military used. At that time, it was cutting edge. And the Sariyat Matkal guys were using it. And they ended up going into an ambush. And later on, when they reverse engineered it, it turned out that the Iranians had been monitoring these signals with Hezbollah, were able to reverse engineer the signals, and were able to replicate the Israeli communication system and not only track the frequencies, but also then decrypt it real time. And they had Hebrew linguists who listened to the officers and the radio operators and mimicked their voices. They knew all the codes and everything. So they got into the Israeli radio waves, encrypted frequency hopping, using Hebrew language, mimicking the voice, and they gave the code word that had the Matkal guys go early, and they walked into an ambush where they suffered tremendous casualties. Not only that, to add insult to injury, when one of the Matkal guys turned around, he came face to face with a Hezbollah guy who was kitted out better than he was, with modern night vision, all the things. The idea that the Hezbollah and Iran are a third world military force, et cetera, is absurd. This is first world stuff. The Iranians especially. While we were in Afghanistan, they had intelligence teams there the whole time, parked outside of, for instance, of Kandahar. And every day they watched the Beast of Kandahar, the RQ-176 or whatever it's called, take off. And they intercepted all the signals. They were going there, and they eventually decrypted the signals, and they were able to see how the plane takes off. And then at some point in time, the ground controller hands it off to a satellite that is being now controlled by somebody in Nevada, and they fly the mission from Nevada. And it's just all the handoff is an encrypted handshake that, two encrypted systems have to talk to each other. Boom, positive handoff. The Iranians replicated that and were able to come up, and at the time when the ground controller turned over control, he turned it over to an Iranian who imitated the satellite and took control of the aircraft and landed it. The reason why I bring that up is the Iranians monitor everything. We've been flying F-35s, F-22s, F-15s in Afghanistan. We've been flying them in Syria, where the Iranians have sophisticated air defense capabilities. And intelligence capabilities. We've been flying them in, the Israelis have been flying them nonstop in Lebanon. This isn't the first rodeo for the Iranians. They've been preparing for this for a long time. They have some of the most advanced engineering and weapons design capabilities imaginable. They have produced air defense systems, indigenous air defense systems, that aren't just simply copies of the Russian S-300. These are air defense systems that have been specifically built to deal with F-35s, F-22s, F-15s. The Iranians are, as Andre said, some of the most advanced in the world. So the reason why I bring that up is the Israelis are going into a fight where the Iranians know just about everything there is to know about the Israelis, and the Israelis know nothing about the Iranian capabilities because they haven't gone up against them. And so Israel was behind the Powerball, the power curve from the very get-go. Iran, had advanced queuing from the Russians. They probably had Russian systems that were providing some sort of intelligence, but they have their own extremely capable systems. And again, as I pointed out, the reason why I brought up the Sariyat Matkal ambush in 2006 is that the Iranians have been studying the Israeli way of war, and they can anticipate. And so when the Israelis made a decision that they were going to go through Jordan, fly through Western Iraq, and go to Salahuddin north of Baghdad for their weapons release area, the Iranians had anticipated this, and they were locking on to F-35s. And the Israelis were going, this can't happen. How can you lock? We're not even in Iran and you're locking onto us. How are you doing this? Well, it's because Iran has been preparing for this fight for a very long time. And the lack of, again, as Andre said, leakers will happen. It happens everywhere. I mean, it's just the reality of war. Nothing works perfect all the time. But the Israelis didn't achieve the results they were hoping to. This was supposed to be one of those deterrence establishing strikes. Instead, what it was an impotence exposing strike, where basically Israel showed the Iranians that at least with what they were using on this strike, they can't deliver the knockout blow. And Iran showed Israel that if you want to do this, we have the solution to your problem. And this is the reality. The Israelis did not deliver anything that was as impressive as they were hoping to deliver. And the Iranians were far more impressive than the Western media is giving them credit for.